Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. I'm very honored and very pleased to have Umair. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you very much Jamali. It's a pleasure being on your show. और मेरा विजन ये नहीं था कि मैं दुनिया में बेहतरीन ट्रेनर बनूं, मैं कोच बनूं, मैं कंसल्टेंट बनूं. मैं तो इस मुल्क को बेहतर बनाना चाहता था. Bitter sweet. Yeah, it's my उस्ताद taught me this कि तुम्हें लीडर बनने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, तुम्हें होश में आने की ज़रूरत है. तो जब इंसान होश में आ जाता है तो वो क्या करता है फरहान, वो जिम्मेदारी उठाता है.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Farhan Ali Jamali and welcome to another episode of From the Top Inspiring Conversation. I'm very honored and very pleased to have Umair Jaliawala with us. Umair is leadership coach, a keynote speaker, and सबसे अच्छी बात कि Umair is a very good friend. Umair, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you very much Jamali. It's a pleasure being on your show and to keep seeing what you're doing.
Thank you so much. Umair, if I can recall, first time when I was really inspired, that was back in 2010, and this was like November 2010, and I attended one of your workshop, and उसमें definitely बहुत सारी activities थी. उसमें से एक एक्टिविटी के बाद मैंने आपसे आके ऑटोग्राफ लिया था और आपने उस पर लिखा था कि जी नई सुबह नई शाम पैदा कर, वो जो इकबाल का जी
नया ज़माना
नई सुबह शाम पैदा कर, एग्जैक्टली ये वर्ड्स थे. तो मैंने क्या किया, वो फ्लिप चार्ट पे मैंने आपसे ऑटोग्राफ लिया था. फिर मैंने क्या किया, यूजुअली ये फ्लिप चार्ट्स आई नाउ अंडरस्टैंड कि वो ट्रेनिंग के बाद कहीं कचरे में पड़े होते हैं, बट वो फ्लिप चार्ट मैंने फ्लिप किया और अपने आप से कमिटमेंट की कि आज के बाद नया ज़माना पैदा करना है, नई सुबह और नई शाम पैदा करनी है. एंड आई केप दैट लाइक कोई 5-6 साल तक मैंने उसको अपने पास रखा. आई वेंट टू लाहौर, इस्लामाबाद, आई शिफ्टेड. तो ये जो आपका सिर्फ ऑटोग्राफ है, इट इंस्पायर्ड मी कम्प्लीटली इन अ डिफरेंट वे. सो फ्रॉम दैट आई वो ऑलवेज लुक्ड एट यू एज माई मेंटोर, एज समवन जिनसे मैं इंस्पिरेशन ले सकता हूँ. And you have played a critical role not only in my life but I can sense many other Pakistani नौजवान जो अभी बहुत अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं. So Umair, I want to thank you for that as well, for inspiring generations for that, and thank you so much for being here once again.
Oh, thank you. You're very generous and I drop a tear to that. I think all thanks, तमाम तारीफ़ें उस रब के लिए. And I've always felt that I think we are picked for work like this, and I felt the force since I was young, and I've just been happening like, and it leads to this. And many a times I don't even know Farhan that it's another autograph story. I met somebody at the Lahore airport, and this guy walks up to me and उसने अपना wallet निकाला और मुझे उसने पहले पूछा कि आप उमैर अशरफ हैं, and my old name was that, and so कहता है आप मेरे कैंपस आए थे और आपने मुझे कुछ लिख के दिया था, and I've never forgotten it. And उसको मैंने लिख के दिया था कि you have a very cool haircut, you're a brand. So उसने मुझे ये बताया कि he had never received a compliment on his hairdo and he loved his hair. कहता है जो मिलता था कहता था कटवा दो माँ बाप उस्ताद, and you were the only person, you didn't know me and I didn't do anything in your session but you left this for me. And ever since then, I have been a different man. So I do think that Allah is most kind, and I feel blessed to be in this. And if it happens, we have played a part in the process, but it's definitely not us.
Lovely. Umair, if I take you back like 15 years, so आज से 10-15 साल पहले आप क्या कर रहे थे, कहाँ पे थे और aspirations क्या थी आपकी?
15 years ago would be 2008. I had graduated IBA degree, IBA से नहीं, IBA की degree, and I was major in marketing, business education ली थी, but I'd already started training Farhan. It was 3 years that I was in the training game और मैं बहुत चल रहा था training के अंदर. And उस वक्त I exactly remember that my father wanted me to work in a company. And so did many of my friends, and that was the thing to do, right? Why else do you get such a degree? And on the other hand was this organization, School of Leadership, offering 7,000 a month. But work that gave me so much joy कि जब मैं 2008 में UXL डिलीवर कर रहा था तो मैं कैंपसेस पे जाता था मैं स्पीच कर रहा होता था और वो मुझे बीच में पर्चियाँ देते थे, टाइम ख़त्म, ये वो फला को बुलाना है. आई जस्ट पुट दैट इन माई पॉकेट. आई वुडंट इवन नो कि किसी ने मुझे पर्ची दी. आई वॉज सो एब्जॉर्ब्ड. And I was seeing transformation on the other side, right? I was clicking as a trainer. I'd go to the campus the first time. They would know me and an affinity would develop. So I decided that I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. And so 2008 was that. The vision was, और मेरा vision ये नहीं था कि मैं दुनिया में बेहतरीन trainer बनूँ, मैं coach बनूँ, मैं consultant बनूँ. मैं तो इस मुल्क को बेहतर बनाना चाहता था. और मुझे इख्तलाफ था उन मज़हबी जमातों से जिन्होंने छोटी छोटी चीज़ों पे इतने बड़े दीन के पैगाम को फ़ेल कर दिया. सबसे ज़्यादा तबलीग होने वाले मुल्क में गंदगी, झूठ, मुनाफिकत. आई हैड अ प्रॉब्लम विद दैट. आई हैड अ प्रॉब्लम विद माई फैमिली, ख़ानदान. दे वुड जस्ट नॉट स्टैंड अप फॉर एवरीथिंग. इट वाज भीख मांगने वाला रवैया. फलां से गुजारिश हो जाए. लड़कियों की शादियां होती हैं यंग एज पे, वो मार दी जाती हैं. FIR नहीं कटती जमाली मेरे ख़ानदान में. I had a problem with that. I had a problem with boys not getting higher education because I come from a Maiman family. Girls not even thinking about it, not even a dialogue on that. So this all became my content. My content was that, hey, I came from Hyderabad, I moved to Karachi, I felt less. Why? Why should anybody feel less if they come from a different town? So yes, that is what was coming together, and just this dream that, hey, with this effort, with this career, if I could achieve anything meaningful, it's going to be this country in a better place, in a more peaceful, prosperous place. Sorry for a very long answer.
Thank you so much. And Umair, now when you look back at your 15 years, how would you see that? How would you look at your journey? Having worked with so many companies, so many institutions. Yeah.
Bittersweet. It's great many a days, many a times, with so many people. I've seen people who could not speak, they sit on TV now. Mm-hmm. I've met young people who didn't believe in themselves, they run big fashion brands today. And so many other stories, right? People who think they wouldn't qualify, they went abroad, they got scholarships. So many of such stories, and I'm sure that our work and the little contribution that I made in that did, get there. But as a country, I feel very, very scared. I'm shit scared about Pakistan at this point, and I think we are going to bleed, and we are going to bleed bad. So in our idealism, we thought that change is going to come, but change has this dip, and we are just hitting that dip. This country is changing, I do believe that, but the pain is just gonna rise. But that's the way, organizations, that's the way individuals. I was just telling you about myself, I went through a dip, and you too come out stronger. So I have that hope alive, yes. And I'm gonna keep doing what I do, and maybe in different ways now that I've grown, I have seen that, like you say, I have a network. And I do feel that I can use this network in many ways that I have not considered earlier. So, yeah.
Amazing. Umair, you have been working on one word, which is like leadership, throughout your life, be it in a political sense, on a personal leadership level, on even leading organizations. How would you define that role of a leader?
So leadership for me is इंसान का होश में आना. Yeah, it's my ustad taught me this कि तुम्हें लीडर बनने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, तुम्हें होश में आने की ज़रूरत है. तो जब इंसान होश में आ जाता है तो वो क्या करता है फरहान? वो जिम्मेदारी उठाता है. वो जिम्मेदारी उठाता है. वो कहता है ये ठीक नहीं है, वो कहता है ये ऐसे हो सकता है, वो कहता है मैं, आप, हम सब. That's leadership. Wow. It starts with you, and it can expand to 8 billion. It can expand to the worlds outside. So it's leadership. The role of a leader is to take charge, is to look at what is and not lose faith, not lose hope, to challenge what is with a better idea, with a better picture, and then to make it happen. I think that for me says it. So in an organization, you have been, placed in a role, you see what is, You see what can be, and then you make that happen, you know. So each one of us is becoming better every day. The world around us keeps getting better. The world that we live in today, Farhan, has so many challenges that need collective action. You know, these are not just individual issues. This has become a world that has a digital world which everybody shares, right? Which anybody can speak to. You work in that world. We are all getting engaged, entertained in that world. And so the leaders today, I would just add, need to be more universal, even bigger in their canvas, even more absorbent of the diversity. Maybe the diversity that they've not even considered diversity earlier. So yeah, that for me is leadership. And lastly, just because there are many leaders very, very popular on social media, and you know, they sit like kings and they don't report to anyone, and they're bigger than everybody else, and they're better than everybody else. And I think that is not leadership. I think that's where leadership ends.
Right. Wow. Umair, because you carry this passion for developing Pakistan, so वो nation building की जब हम बात करते हैं तो वो हम एक कौम क्यों नहीं बन पाए, उस पर how would you reflect? क्या factors हैं जिनकी वजह से हम वहाँ पे नहीं पहुँच पाए जहाँ पे शायद बाकी countries जो है वो पहुँच सके?
तो हमारी तारीख शायद हम बहुत स्कैर्ड थे, हमारी रियलिटी ऐसी है. मैं अब एम्पथाइज़ करता हूँ पाकिस्तान के साथ कि एक मुल्क आज़ाद हो जाता है जिसके पास कोई पैसे नहीं है, जिसके पास फर्नीचर नहीं है, जिसके पास ट्रेंड लोग नहीं हैं, और वो मुल्क सरवाइव किया है. और उस मुल्क ने बहुत सारी जगहों पे दुनिया को अमेज़ किया. ये कभी भी एक नहीं थे, ये एक बने थे मुल्क बनाने के लिए. तो जो एक का तसव्वुर हमें बार बार सिखाया गया ना, पाकिस्तानी शख्सियत, पाकिस्तानी कल्चर, पाकिस्तानी लिबास, पाकिस्तानी ज़ुबान, ये हमारी हकीकत नहीं है जमाली. हमारी हकीकत ये है कि हम मिल के एक पाक ज़मीन बनाने के लिए साथ आए थे. उसमें सिंधी 4000 साल पुराने थे, उसमें पठानों की अपनी तारीख़ है, अपने ओरिजिन्स है, पंजाबीज़ आर दे गो बियॉन्ड पाकिस्तान, राइट? इवन सो आई थिंक दैट डाइवर्सिटी नीड्स टू बी एक्नॉलेज्ड. देखें, यूनिफॉर्मिटी में तो यूनिटी नहीं होती ना, यूनिटी तो होती डाइवर्सिटी में. सो आई थिंक दैट्स वेयर वी नीड टू अराइव एट, एंड अनफॉर्चुनेटली वी हैव ट्राइड सॉर्ट ऑफ इम्पोजिंग अ सर्टन brand, and I think all cultures have resisted with that notion. Number two, despite of the religion card, the nation or the country coming into existence because of religion, it's amazing that never has a religious Jamaat being elected by the wider majority. So I do believe that this country is not as conservative as some of us have projected us to be. And I see a whole lot of, I see cultures in Sindh where women are independent, like they're sitting in, you know, they have their own sangats and they are part and parcel. You know, land has a very different, it's in the cities that they have a, so I think that's number two, that the religious identity, it's over religiosity. And I think that will have to sort of become more enlightened, and we'll have to create space for each other. Lastly, for nation building, you see, Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan for me was not wearing a green shalwar kameez and telling people I'm from Pakistan and love Pakistan and Pakistan is good and Pakistan is not that. What was he doing? What did Imran Khan do? What did all the people who are recognized globally, what did they do? They played their leadership game and the world recognized them for it. Leader of Qawwali, Mr. Khan. I mean, he stands up from Faisalabad, goes up to France, where not, and what comments he received. Nowhere does he say, please respect Pakistan.
Yeah.
You know, please don't misjudge us. The world, because of his performance, his value addition to music, traces it back to Pakistan, and to date, you know, so many people. And so I think that has to be the model, wherein we have to encourage Farhan, play your game, yaar. This land allows for us to do that and do it so well. We've got to back each other up. We don't do that enough, right? Our culture is like, अच्छा ये आगे बढ़ गया तो मैं पीछे, तो नहीं यार, फरहान को आगे, अगर उमैर फरहान को आगे बढ़ाने में लग जाए, right? और हम सब एक दूसरे को ये करना शुरू हो जाएं, तो we will make each other global. and we will answer a whole lot of problems that we are facing right now, whether those are economic challenges or the day-to-day social, hiccups that we encounter. So that's how I see nation building.
Wow, lovely, lovely. मैं इन लास्ट 15 ईयर्स जो आपने काम किया, आई एम श्योर कि बहुत इम्पैक्टफुल काम, चाहे वो किसी भी लेवल पे हो, इवन आपका काम डेवलपमेंट सेक्टर के लिए हो, चाहे वो नौजवानों के लिए हो, चाहे वो कॉर्पोरेट्स के लिए हो, तो कोई ऐसे एक दो प्रोजेक्ट्स दैट यू फील लाइक वेरी क्लोज टू योर हार्ट, और जब भी उसका इम्पैक्ट आप सोचते हैं तो यू फील लाइक प्राउड ऑन दैट एज वेल?
I think one is KYSN always. It was a lot of hard work and hard work as well, and there was a wonderful team that made it happen. I was a trainer sort of running the show. It was conceptualized at our level, but it was executed by the team. But this project was a safe space for the young people of Karachi. We had 15,000 members from Liari, Sultanabad, Karangi, and we worked on 3 E's. Now, interestingly, we wrote this concept at our place, like on a whiteboard, and the team remembers. And later, Jawan Pakistan UNDP report had exactly the 3 E's, that this is what needs to be done with the young people of Pakistan. And this place just attempted that how can we support education, how can we support employability and engagement. And I wish that it had better run. But what amazes me, Farhan, is that project became an epicenter of young people who were not included, who were not attended to, who didn't have such a place, who didn't have such interactions. और भरमार उस पे आके लोग पढ़ रहे हैं क्योंकि उनके पास घरों पे जगह नहीं है, जैम कर रहे हैं, और बड़े उसमें से मतलब रैपर्स निकले और बैंड्स बने, वो लियारी के बहुत मशहूर हैं लाइक स्पोर्ट्स के वाले से, and they were there. So in some way, they had that safe space in their journeys. And on the other side, I saw so much khair. From the corporate, from the development, from celebrities, from Myra Khan to Vikajis to Tina Sanis were down there sitting on the carpets teaching young people, and we'd be on the side amazed that how did we arrive here? And why didn't anybody tell me that, hey, the most important people also want to give back, and also, so it brought a lot together, and for me and my team. So I would rate that as one of the best that we did as a team. I wish it had sustained. Second, if I had to pick up, is I always say this, that my work across campuses, when you go to a campus versus when you go to a company, the difference, so the people that I work with on campus are now in companies, and I get to see them are now in different departments, and they always trace it back. That, because getting that kind of an experience on campus is rare. In companies, they're getting an opportunity to realize what opportunities you have on campus really, really gives you a great go ahead, because you have not decided. You're an open canvas. So I cherish that a lot. And there's, I've been to hundreds of campuses, and it's always been a pleasure.
Wow, lovely. Even one word that you use, I can relate to it, is like safe place or safe house, जिसको हम कह सकते हैं. So even I can recall those days. So I come from दादू. So वहाँ पे जो प्रेशर, वहाँ पे जो बहुत सारी चीज़ें ऐसी होती थी जिससे हमें एक आम से नौजवान को प्रेशर फील होता है, लाइक कि आपने ये क्यों पहना हुआ है, आप ये क्यों करें, एंड एवरीवन इज़ लाइक जजिंग. So for me, safe place was School of Leadership का office. Yeah, I used to see you, I used to see Shireen Appa, and only one thing, like acceptance. I can even recall 6th of July. First time I met Shireen Appa, and she hugged me first, and then she asked me कि बेटा आपका नाम क्या है, and then I was like कि मतलब क्या है कि कोई जजमेंट नहीं है, वरना तो हम पहले सारी चीज़ें मालूम करते हैं, उसके बाद हम डिसाइड करते हैं कि कहाँ तक इनसे बात करनी है. So yeah, that safe place or safe house banana for in city like Karachi for everyone.
And now when I look back, she was playing with fire. I mean, getting young people 18 to 24, even getting them to work together, lead. But it's, I used to say this, that I have worked in the Google environment even before we learned about the Google environment.
Wow.
And now I laugh when organizations say, oh, we are including transgenders. And I was like, this is 2005 for us. But I do believe we're far ahead of the game. And on this, Farhan, what you said, research बताती है कि अगर एक बच्चे को ज़िंदगी के अंदर एक उस्ताद ऐसा मिल जाए जो उसमें बिलीव कर ले, तो बच्चा बन जाता है. It does not matter what all, one teacher. And so yes, I can see, and I've seen you transform. It's also what you have done in response. When you get the space, what do you do with it? How do you play in that? And I can see many people came from your setting as well, but you've played it even better. You have been far more committed, dedicated. So
थैंक यू उमेर. एक और चीज़ मुझे बताएं. यूजुअली फॉर एग्जांपल आई यूज टू टेल देम कि जी 18 साल का लड़का 20 साल का लड़का क्या बात करेगा, वही उसकी जो ज़िंदगी में हो रहा है, वो इकोनॉमी तो डिस्कस नहीं करेगा, वो जीडीपी तो डिस्कस नहीं करेगा, वो मुल्क के बड़े मसले तो सॉल्व नहीं करेगा, वो वही करेगा जो उसकी लाइफ में हो रहा है. एंड नाउ व्हेन आई लुक बैक कि जी हम नाउ आई एम इन माई मिड 30s, तो अब मेरी कुछ एस्पिरेशन, कुछ चीज़ें बदल गई हैं. व्हाट कीप्स यू गोइंग फॉर वर्किंग विद द यूथ? बहुत सारे आपके ऐसे दोस्त ट्रेनर थे जिन्होंने शुरू किया एंड दे रियलाइज़ कि यार ठीक है, गुड, अच्छा काम किया, नाउ दे मूव्ड, they work for them
because they want to become big trainers. I want to change this country. Not to be, not to say that I am, doing a better job, but that's what drives me, right? देखो ना, एक तो रियलिटीज़ में फ़र्क होता है लोगों की. अब जब मैं देखता हूँ ना फरहान, तो मेरे अब्बा ने कभी मुझसे डिमांड नहीं की कि मैं घर में कुछ दूँ. बड़ी बड़ा प्रिविलेज है यार कि मेरे ऊपर वो बर्डन नहीं आया. मैंने शादी बहुत लेट की, मैंने बहुत सारी चीज़ें मेरे हक़ में थी, मेरे लक में थी, मेरी किस्मत में मुझे मिल रही थी. सो बट आई डू अंडरस्टैंड दैट मे नॉट बी द रियलिटी ऑफ मैनी अदर पीपल. सिमिलरली व्हाट वी वांट आउट ऑफ लाइफ इज़ आवर ओन, दैट्स आवर फ्रीडम. सो आई रिस्पेक्ट आई हैव ऑलवेज रिस्पेक्टेड दोज who make equity, who make themselves financially secure. But I am the other camp, I am the camp that says that believe in the goodness of the world. You don't have to save it, no birds do. Why do humans? So that's and because I wanted to, I'm still committed, and I read so much of what is happening in the country. My half the time goes into watching these news shows and what is happening, and I'm not reading my training things. So that should also sort of, help you understand that what drives me. And I see young people as the leverage. Pakistan has a demographic dividend, which will turn into a liability. And if you ask me honestly, it seems like it's turned into a liability already. With the unemployment, badtamizi, and no love for this country, and no trust in anything. And we have brought young people here. So I will keep going to campuses, and if I could, I would want to go to even a younger age, and I tried doing that, लेकिन मैं चल नहीं पाया बच्चों के साथ. अब मेरा बच्चा है ना, तो मुझे लगता है अब मैं बच्चों के साथ चल पाऊँगा. तो शायद उस एज पे जो है ना, जो अंडर 7 वाली है, तुम जानते हो, हमें उस पे डालना है नया ज़माना, नई सुबह शाम पैदा कर. Then it's going to be even a louder voice. So I think the development work at the earliest level is the best. Secondly, I would also say that because I've been loved at campuses, and I get so many invitations, even today I've moved to Islamabad, wherever I've been, every month has been full of invites, unless the COVID times was a rare thing that nothing was happening. And I'm grateful to all the societies, all the students, and sometimes I'd be nasty. I say things that, campus one should not say, and yet they've given me the margin, and so have the faculty. And it's the kind of style that we take sometimes, so yeah, I think that's another reason why, when you get that love, you want to do it.
Umair, one thing I really want to discuss. मेरे जितने भी दोस्त हैं, मैं जिससे भी मिलता हूँ, जिससे भी बात करता हूँ, जो कि बहुत अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं. इवन जिन्होंने हमारे साथ शुरू किया, पाकिस्तान में हर जो भी इंडस्ट्री है उसमें बहुत अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं. तो जिससे भी बात होती है, कहीं ना कहीं पे वो एक नाम लेते हैं कि जी अच्छा आपने वाइल्सी कब किया है? अच्छा 2008 में किया. मैंने 2012 में किया, मैंने 2013 में किया, मैंने 2006 में किया था. सो नाउ सिर्फ एक ऐसा प्लेटफॉर्म और उसके जो रिपल्स बन रहे हैं काउंटलेस. So how would you see the work of especially Young Leaders Conference and Youth Development of Pakistan?
Yeah. You know, there are things that happen and they become an act to follow. And they are institutions and fraternities in their own selves. You know, there are many conferences that happen, but when is it that you have 300 young people from 70 districts together for 6 days and 5 nights? And you have a kid from the grammar school, and you have a kid who has been sponsored by the Poverty Alleviation Fund, and he comes from extreme poverty, and they have got to share the room. YLC is not just a stage hosting speakers. It's a team creating an environment, a safe space across the 6 days. Not just a safe space, but such a passionate space that you never forget that experience. I did it in 2004, and after that, like, I've been part of 13 more in many different roles, and I've written so many programs, and so yeah, I think it's been a pioneering work. It has created a disruption in the youth training sphere when we talk about soft skills. And I've seen so many other YLCs and YLSs and YLabs and and you know, I've also seen pieces to the extent that sometimes you would have a speaker there and you would see that speaker going around at all the other events. It's like a thing happening. How I see it, another story, 2008, I did the road trip. 2008-9, and Farhan, wherever I stopped, there was a group waiting. There was a group waiting with gifts, with food. We didn't have to pay anywhere. We, from the Unilever Fair and Lovely guest houses to the Khairpur Mahals and what not, all the alumni. So वो जो regard उस पे बनता था ना, और मुझे ये लगता है कि ये क्यों बनता है, क्योंकि YLC ऐसे मौजू पे बात करता है जिस पे कोई बात नहीं करता. माँ बाप भागते हैं, कॉलेज कैंपसेस पे नहीं होती. नौजवानों की थिंकिंग को एक इंजीनियरिंग मेडिसिन एक चीज़ से उठा के वो इतनी बड़ी कर देता है. मैंने करने नहीं है वो सारे, लेकिन मुझे अब मैं mind once stretched never returns to its original shape. So there's a lot that I can say about YLC, but I'd stop here just saying that it is it's a kind of thing that happens in a long time, and it's a kind of thing that even the founders don't know. It's not in their vision how far it goes. I would say that because when I just met Shireen last week, Shinappa, and she'd be crying telling me YLC stories. She showed me so many stories. And of all the work that she has done, this tops all the stories. So I do think that it's something special and something worth protecting, I would say, and worth scaling.
Wow, lovely, Umair. Umair, one more thing, because we have generations to come. अब तो हमारे पास मिलेनियल्स, जेन जी, जेन अल्फ़ा और ये ग्लास जनरेशन जिसको हम कह रहे हैं, इस सिचुएशन में जब हमारा जो कोर ह्यूमन वैल्यूज़ हैं वो अब हमारे जो डिजिटल होने जा रहे हैं, हाउ वुड यू लुक एट दिस ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन विच इज़ लाइक आईटी की ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन ऑन बिहेवियरल चेंज, ऑन नेशन डेवलपमेंट, इसको आप कैसे कनेक्ट करेंगे?
I think we are still learning the IT game, and where I am very, very scared, I would use the term again, second time. There was a time that I'd never say this term. Farhan, we're growing up. But technology बनाने वाले को, algorithm बनाने वाले को अगर नहीं पता कैसे होगा क्या. अब आपको पता है ना, अब कोडर कोड नहीं लिख रहा, अब मशीन खुद कोड लिख रही है, उस कोड पे वो खुद ही लिखे जा रही है. अब एल्गोरिथम भी खुद ही ऑप्टिमाइज़ हो रहा है, जमाली के लिए ऑप्टिमाइज़ हो रहा है, जालियावाला के लिए हो रहा है. And how we are wired to our phones and how little we know as to how they're listening all the time. They're listening, and we're putting everything out. And so, I think the world needs to rise up and needs to put this under regulation, put this under watch. The common public needs to grow more and more understanding of not just the app, but how do you guys work? For example, an app upload करते हैं ना, कहता है बंद नहीं करो, मैं अपलोड, तो आप चलाते रहें वो ऐप बैठे बैठे. क्यों भाई? फ्रॉम दैट टू एक जाली डेट ऑफ बर्थ मेरा 8 साल का भांजा डाल दे तो उसका अकाउंट बन जाता है. ये इतनी बड़ी बड़ी इनकी पॉलिसियाँ लिखी हुई हैं और उन्होंने ऐसे लूप होल्स छोड़े हुए हैं. So I think legislation and awareness, that's very, very important. Now how this digital world and the human behavior, I think we are seeing both extremes here. And that's the amazing thing, right? That we are expanding in both the directions. You see brilliance amplified, scaled up, and you see the darkness, the dark webs. So I think people have far more choices, far more liberty, nobody watching, nobody monitoring, right? In normal sphere, imagine what will happen in metaverse. So I think a big part of it needs to be people deciding on their code, on their values, because everything is out there. From a child to an oldie, everybody needs to have some filter. Secondly, it needs all of us to get smarter. Thirdly, it will need for all of us to be more inclusive. Because here we are hearing from countries, hearing from people that we would never in our lives hear from. Ideas that would never hit our lands. So I think it needs us to be better listeners. Instead of judging and tweeting, we've got to, and I think it's an amazing opportunity to learn. And lastly, how this has impacted, I see dance has gotten better globally. I see sports, I see gardening, all the things that humans do, they have gotten so much better because anybody who is doing it and doing it in a special way is sharing it. So I think we are rising collectively as humans, and our real battles of ahead, interestingly, are not to कि काम हो जाए, but rather हम अपने आप को समझ जाएं, हम वो जो चीज़ें नहीं कर पाते थे ना, क्योंकि हमें काम करना होता था और मुशक्क़तें वो कम होती जाएंगी. So I'm looking forward to that. So these extremes, like I say, I see on both ends, and I can talk about the dark side as well. But I'm amazed as to how people in communities that I go to now know so many things, and I see my role evolving. That's what I close with. That now I don't feel like telling them stories. I don't feel like maybe showing them videos because they get to see that. I want them to truly tell me what all they know. What are they feeling? What's the confusion? And how do we sort of sort that?
Sure.
So that piece, I think, for the learning industry will keep going away.
Wow, lovely. हमें 4 और चीज़ें हैं जिस पे मुझे आपसे जानना है. One is like parenting. Like आपने recently एक post रखी that completely caught my attention. It was like कि जी हमें बच्चों को सिखाने की नहीं, उनसे सीखने की ज़रूरत है.
Yeah, I think that's why children are.
Yeah. So how is your that parenting experience, और उसने आपको क्या सिखाया?
Yeah, I think for खुद पसंदी आ जाती है ना कुछ ट्रेनर्स में. हैं फरहान? You think so? तो उसको तोड़ने के लिए जो है ना औलाद चाहिए. Trainer is the most important person in the room. As a keynote speaker, the audiences that I walk into, and sometimes they have a planned entry, and I'm so important. But a child will make sure that you learn that you're not the most important person in the room. And that's my biggest learning. And I'm grateful to my child for that.
Wow.
And looking at my child, I can't thank my parents enough.
Wow.
And I can't, it's hard. It's a lot of work. And every moment that I've had with, and I had a lot of time with him recently, I was like completely disconnected from work in the Caribbean, and seeing him enjoy the simplest of the things and being so candid.
Yeah.
The child is so candid and so out there, and it's almost like it's soul in action, The mind is not developed yet. It's a soul in action, it's pure. So I think children, like Sadhguru says that, why God gives us children. Somebody asked him and he said, so that we can learn to live life again.
Wow.
And I'm learning to live life again. I became too big and I had too many things going, and I realized that, it's...
Lovely. And Umair, इस पूरी journey में what are your lifelong lessons that you hold very close to yourself?
Like in my journey, that would have
in your
integrity.
life.
Integrity is number one. I think nothing gives you more confidence than integrity. And one reason why young people and people around in our country struggle so much is because they have to put on a show, put on a drama. And trust me, I'm like getting rid of the dramas in whatever ways, and I feel so much more liberated. I've been, on a track when I've never had the financial, corruption, this, that, कभी ये नहीं ईमान रहा. तो मैं पहली बात तो ये कि और ख़ास तौर पे हमारे मुल्क को ज़रूरत है एक इस रेवोल्यूशन की ज़रूरत है कि हम सब ईमानदार हो जाएं, कि हम जो कहें हम वो कर दें, हम दूसरे का ना खाएं, जो हमारा है वो कोई नहीं ले सकता, जो नहीं है वो कोई. So that's my, and I keep reinforcing that. Number two, and more recent, I think it is that it is, कुरान में आयत 2 मरतबा आती है, हर मुश्किल के साथ आसानी है. बेशक हर मुश्किल के साथ आसानी है. And maybe I recited the line, but now I really, really believe in it. When something is going down, my faith says that something is coming up. And so I would really, really tell people that, it's a lesson that I have learned, and I've gone down like many times in the last few years, and this has helped me stay up and running. Another lesson, and I was telling Arthur about this because a lot of people reach out for work, that behind every position is a human being. So never look at the position. Crack a joke with the Prime Minister. He wants you to do that. I'm telling you, I've done it. Don't be nasty, don't be dirty, don't be disrespectful. But don't fall into the protocol that their team is setting out and that they will love you if you connect with them. And I've heard that from so many accomplished people and people who dream to see वो टकरा जाते ना कोई इवेंट ये वो और इतने लोग रहे हैं फरहान और मैं हमेशा बंदा और मैं उनको उसी निस्बत से जानता हूँ no matter how their designations evolved. And so I'd say these 3 things, I think.
Last question, Umair. Because you have seen the ups, also I'm sure कि वो challenges days भी आए होंगे ज़िंदगी में. So जब ज़्यादा कामयाबी मिल जाए, ज़्यादा शोहरत मिल जाए तो किस चीज़ का ख्याल रखा जाए? And when you are broken, when you are down और failures में आप घिरे हुए हैं, तब किस चीज़ का ख्याल रखा जाए?
Yeah, 2 days. 2 days. The day that works for you, don't get arrogant. Don't believe that only you can. And the day that does not work, don't lose faith. Don't lose patience. That's the time to demonstrate patience, Hazrat Ali का एक कॉल है 2 दिन है, एक दिन तुम्हारा है, एक दिन तुम्हारा नहीं है. And I think that's the way it is. When you are, there's an amazing research, Good to Great, it's highly quoted in our organizational development work. Interestingly, उस किताब के बाद एक तीसरी किताब भी है जिम कॉलिंस की. किताबें तो बहुत हैं लेकिन उसका फॉलोअप जो किताब है, that is about how the mighty fall. The organizations that he called great, half of them fell. And the first reason, the top reason is because they became arrogant. It is, and I must tell you that when things are working out, when you're succeeding, you've got to really, really have people who will give you real feedback. Because that is one of the biggest reasons why people are blinded in such times, and it leads to more and more arrogance. People around you, Farhan, like you, nobody else. The day you hear it, stay away. Hazrat Ali ने कहा ना तारीफ करने वालों से, something to that effect. Be careful. Yeah.
Umair bhai, so now this round is this or that. Context कोई नहीं है, आपने सिर्फ choose करना है this or that.
Favorite.
Yeah. So Elon Musk or Bill Gates?
Bill Gates.
Vision or execution?
Vision.
Innovation or efficiency?
Innovation.
Individual coaching or group coaching?
Group coaching.
Okay. Humor or seriousness in leadership
Humor.
training? Okay. And strength based training or weakness based training?
Strength based.
Okay, good. You are very, very rapid. Emotional intelligence or cognitive intelligence?
Emotional.
Action learning or classroom learning?
Action.
Okay, good. Oh my God, you were very rapid. Now we have this favorites round. ठीक है जी? And so you have to pick your favorites. मैं कोई controversial question definitely नहीं पूछूंगा. Your favorite leadership development program?
For adults,
Yeah.
I don't know any, man.
मतलब कोई ऐसा ट्रेन
I don't think leadership fits into a program, but
मतलब कोई ऐसा program that you love facilitating?
that I love. I think we did one program. We designed it ourselves. It was for academia leaders, school, colleges के जो leaders होते हैं, and so that's the leadership program that I would quote for adults. Yeah.
Okay.
But globally, I mean, I've looked at many, but I've never really gone through any of those programs. So I can't say that this is my favorite, yeah.
Okay. So your favorite leadership quotation?
It's, you know what I just said in the interview, that you see it as is, see it better than what it is, and then make it happen. And I think this comes from Anthony Robbins, something similar to effect, yeah.
Okay. Favorite way to celebrate success?
With friends, outside, at a place which is natural, like beach, mountains.
Okay. And your favorite thing about your work?
That it contributes, it makes me better, it makes everybody grow.
Wow, lovely. And now we have like final round, which is like fill the sentence. ठीक है जी, इसमें I'll give you the sentence और आपने उसको complete करना है. The best advice you ever received?
Exercises are overrated. Said Asad Umar. And after that, I became a very content-centric trainer, by the way. Until I lost it again. I'm sorry, Mr. Asad.
Okay. The best way to improve workplace culture is?
Care.
Okay. The biggest challenge I faced in my career was?
I always felt I was very young. It wasn't my place. I'd be, it was a thing for many years.
Okay. One thing you wish you had known before starting your career?
That training is a lifestyle, and once a trainer, it's a trainer husband, it's a trainer son, it's a trainer friend, it's a trainer companion. Trainers are the people who just can't take a break and see things and just enjoy them for what they are. They have to find something meaningful and like reflect and take it back to the room and so. I wish I had known this.
I completely agree with you on this. Matlab, if something bad happens with me, I have to become like a trainer. I have to respond to it that way. कि जी अगर मैंने कोई गलत रिस्पॉन्ड किया तो फिर मैं पार्टिसिपेंट्स को क्या मुंह दिखाऊंगा.
That too, yeah. It's a lot of burden of this job, yaar. And in our culture, people want to see trainer as or any educator as मासूम नहीं होते कि उनकी सारी चीज़ें और मतलब अगर आप एक सूटा भी लगा लें सर आपसे मोड़े.
A few more. The most important quality of a leader is?
I think two, I would say, vision and connection.
Okay. One advice that you would like to give to a trainer is?
Read.
Okay.
And read a whole lot before you think of writing.
Okay. अब राइटिंग का तो मसला नहीं है ना, चैट जीपीटी आ गया है, बस इंटेलेक्ट आपने आउटसोर्स कर दिया. Okay, a few more. To increase employee engagement, companies should
truly engage, listen to people, and try making work not just productive but also enjoyable with purpose. If you're able to add that link, I think it becomes very, very meaningful.
Okay, and final one. To become a successful trainer, one must.
Yeah, I said read, but I would answer this as spend time with other trainers, attend other trainers' programs. It gets you very far ahead very soon, and especially if you're young, find find all kinds, but find the senior most, 3, 4. Just reach out, connect, because that's very, very crucial in your journey.
Wow, lovely, Umair. To be honest, this was the most rapid fire round that I had. You were very rapid. And also your responses were amazing. So thank you so much for that. A last note that you want to give to young people out there? जो कि अपने मिड 20s में हैं, अभी स्ट्रगल कर रहे हैं, आइडेंटिटी क्राइसिस का शिकार हैं, कॉन्फिडेंस नहीं है, एक्सपोजर नहीं है, कई छोटे गांव में बैठे हुए हैं, समझ नहीं आ रहा क्या करें, उनके लिए कोई पैगाम?
क्या आप किसी से कम नहीं हैं? आपको ये सिखा दिया होगा माहौल ने, आप सोशल मीडिया देख के ये अस्यूम कर लेते हैं, किसी ने आपको कहा तो तुझे पता नहीं है, ओ तू कपड़े कैसे पहनता है। तो मैं तो ये दिखाता हूँ, अंगूठा सबका निकलवाता हूँ कि भाई ये है किसी और का नहीं है। और इसका मतलब टंग प्रिंट, इसका मतलब आवर फीलिंग्स, जस्ट यू, देयर इज़ नोबडी एल्स लाइक यू, एंड इफ़ यू विल नॉट पिक योरसेल्फ अप, हु विल? And the one who's made you and made all of this says he has made you the best, in the best form. There can't be a better form of you. So take his word and drive faith from there on your own self. Number 2, look at your life as an adventure. You know, for people who are born in the riches, they have to go to the other extreme. उनको कम्युनिटीज़ में जाके, कैंप्स में जाके कंट्रीब्यूट करना पड़ता है ताकि उनको समझ आए और फिर वो फुलफिल्ड, और जो नीचे वाले वो ऊपर जाए। तो ये बहुत खूबसूरत स्कीम है। अल्लाह कुरान में कहते हैं कि मैंने तुम्हें बांटा है, तुम में से कुछ को ज़्यादा दिया है, कुछ को कम दिया है। और फिर उसके आगे वाली लाइन मुझे बहुत पावरफुल लगती है, ताकि तुम दोनों एक दूसरे की खिदमत कर सको। इट्स नॉट वन वे. It's not my helper who is doing my khidmat. It's not the people who are there doing my khidmat. As their leader, as their manager, as the head of family, I'm also in service of them. And so all of us are. So feel confident. Whatever you know, whatever little you know, अंग्रेज़ी, उर्दू, अपनी ज़बान आपने जाके हाथ मिलाना है, कंधे सीधे करके, और अपना तारुफ करा देना. And then leave the rest to the other. Put faith. He has amazing ways. I have many a times just reached out to somebody and they end up saying the thing that I would have said next. ये भी तो होता है ना कि आपने नहीं कहा और सामने वाला कह देता है. So for all the people who put themselves down, please don't, and just get up, कंधे सीधे करो और चलते रहो रोज़ाना. And Jamali is, you know, you're an act to follow. From where you started, what you're doing right now, what you're able to, you know, the opportunities that have opened up to you, matlab the world is open, yaar. And it's what, 7-8 years of you starting, and so yeah, your story is a brilliant one to respond to what you said.
Thank you so much, Umair. Umair, the title of this podcast is Inspiring Conversations. To be honest, this was like the complete episode जो हमने record किए. There was like inspiring conversations. So thank you so much for coming, and I'm sure कि जो viewers देखेंगे इसको कहीं ना कहीं पे they'll get inspired to do something in their life. Thank you so much.
Inshallah.
Thank you. Lovely.